Everyone is freaking out about the 2026 airline crackdowns, the gate alarms that publicly shame you for boarding early, the laser sizers that reject your carry-on for being 1 centimeter too thick. The news keeps telling you what you can't do anymore. But here's what nobody's talking about. These new rules actually created loopholes for smart travelers. While everyone else is getting gate checked, paying surprise fees, and panicking at the boarding area, I'm going to show you the exact system I use to breeze through every single one of these changes. We're breaking down the 8 biggest 2026 rule changes, not to scare you, but to show you how to use each one to fly better, faster, and cheaper. American Airlines is installing new software at gates across the US that will sound a loud alarm if you try to scan your boarding pass before your group is called. It locks you out, everyone stares, and you have to walk back to the end of the line. It's designed to eliminate what airline staff call gate lice, the people who crowd the boarding area hoping to sneak on early. Now most travelers hear this and think, great, boarding just got more stressful. But here's what I realized. This software actually makes boarding better for you if you know how to use it. I call it the Group 5 Sniper Method. Since the software physically forces the early boarders to sit back down, the gate area is now clearer than it has ever been. So instead of lining up and standing there like everyone used to do, just sit comfortably until the exact second your group is called. Then walk through the wide open lane like a VIP. No crowd, no pushing, no stress. The gate lights were forced to sit down and you get to stroll right through. If you are still using a standard driver's license in 2026, stop. The federal deadline actually passed last year in May 2025. But here's the new rule that started this month, February 1st. If you show up without the star on your ID, you don't just get a warning anymore. You now have to pay a mandatory $45 verification fee right at the security checkpoint. It's called TSA Confirm ID, and they will charge you every single time you fly. So forget the DMV lines. Just use your passport card or prepay the fee online to skip the wait. But here's the thing. If you are still pulling out a plastic ID card in 2026, you're already behind. Delta and United are both rolling out digital ID programs where your face is your boarding pass. You walk up to TSA, look at a camera, and you're through. No digging through your bag, no fumbling with your wallet. Enroll in your airline's biometric ID program now, and you skip the entire real ID panic altogether. It takes 5 minutes to set up, and it will save you time on every single flight going forward. Airlines are getting much stricter about lithium batteries in 2026, especially the non-removable kind built into smart luggage. If your suitcase has a battery that can't be taken out, it's getting rejected at the gate, period. Instead of traveling with one giant power bank that's borderline too large and risks getting confiscated, switch to what I call the modular power system. Carry 2 slim 10,000 milliamp hour magnetic battery packs. They're well within TSA limits. They stick right to the back of your phone during the flight, and you've got double the charging power without any of the risk. Thanks to new Department of Transportation regulations, airlines must now issue automatic refunds for services you paid for but didn't actually receive. Most people know this applies to canceled flights. But here's what most people don't know. It also applies to Wi-Fi. If you paid $15 for in-flight Wi-Fi and it was too slow to actually use, that counts as a failure of service. Here's exactly what to do. While you're still in the air, run a speed test on your phone and take a screenshot. The second you land, file a refund claim through the airline's app or website. That's an easy $15 to $30 back in your pocket, and it takes about 2 minutes. Flight attendants now have live digital seat maps on their tablets, which means if you quietly move to an empty row after takeoff, they're going to know, and they're going to send you back to your assigned seat. But here's the workaround. About 15 minutes before boarding starts, open the airline app and check the seat map. Look for completely empty rows. Then walk up to the gate agent and politely say,
I noticed row 34 looks open. Would it be possible to move me there for spacing?
They almost always say yes because it costs the airline nothing and it makes you happy. You get a poor man's first class completely within the rules, and nobody sends you back to your seat mid-flight. Multiple airlines are moving toward limiting passengers to 2 alcoholic drinks per flight to reduce disruptive behavior. Ryanair's CEO has publicly supported this, and United already caps purchases at 2 drinks at a time. So here's my approach. Instead of fighting this, front-load your relaxation before the flight. Take the money you would have spent on overpriced drinks at 35,000 feet and put it toward a day lounge pass through an app like Dragon Pass or Priority Pass. You get unlimited drinks, comfortable seating, free food, and you board the plane already relaxed. It's a better experience for less money, and you don't have to worry about any drink limits.
Airlines are replacing human ID checks with biometric scanners. Boarding lines that used to have 4 staffed podiums now have 1 agent and 3 cameras. And here's the part most travelers completely miss. Once these systems become the default, you may feel like you can't say no, even though the law still says you can. In this video, I'll show you where your face is already being used as your boarding pass, how Europe will force every American tourist into biometrics beginning in 2025 and 2026, and the exact sentence to say if you want to legally opt out in the US. Let's start with the truth that almost no one wants to say out loud. Walk through airports like Atlanta, LAX, JFK, or Detroit, and you'll notice something subtle. The lines labeled touchless ID, the glowing facial recognition cameras, the giant screens that say, just look at the camera, you're good to go. This is the new sales pitch. Security, speed, and convenience. But convenience is only the front end. The real purpose is behind the camera. When you use biometric boarding, you're not just confirming your identity. You're helping the system learn your face, faster, cleaner, and more accurate for the next time. In other words, the system doesn't just verify you, it trains on you. Delta calls it touchless identity. United uses smart identity. American calls it seamless boarding. Different names. Same funnel. Once the facial scanner becomes the default option, the pressure shifts. You're no longer opting in, you're opting out, which feels very different. And here's something travelers rarely hear. DHS can retain biometric records of non-citizens for up to 75 years. Citizens' retention rules are shorter, but the system doesn't need to store your face forever. It only needs to match it instantly, which it can do without saving everything permanently. Convenience is the bait. Your long-term digital identity is the cost. If you think the US is moving fast, Europe is already at the finish line. Starting late 2025 into 2026, the EU will activate the Entry-Exit System, or EES. Here's what that means for every American stepping off a plane in Paris, Rome, Barcelona, or Amsterdam. No more passport stamps. No more quick conversation with a border officer. Those days are over. Instead, you'll walk up to a kiosk. You will place your fingers on a scanner. You will look into a camera. Your face and fingerprints will be linked to your passport and stored in a massive EU database. And unlike the US, there is no opt-out in Europe. You cannot request a manual check. You cannot ask for a human officer. You cannot skip the scan. If you refuse biometrics, you simply do not enter the country. This will be the new normal for more than a dozen of the world's most popular travel destinations. It's the clearest glimpse into where US travel could eventually go. Now, for the part most travelers actually need. How do you protect your privacy in the United States, where opting out is still your legal right? Here's what the law says. As a United States citizen, you can refuse biometric verification and request a manual ID check. That part is simple. The hard part is everything that happens before you even reach the podium. Because, well, agents are under pressure. Biometric lanes are faster. Cameras don't argue. Cameras don't slow down boarding. So you may hear lines like, just look at the camera. It's automatic. Everyone goes through here. This line is only for facial ID. You'll delay the flight if you don't scan. This is the only open lane right now. None of these override your rights. Here's how to do it effectively. As you walk up to the podium, hold your passport flat against your chest, directly between your face and the scanner. This prevents the camera from grabbing a frame before you consent. Then calmly say, I am opting out of biometric verification and requesting a manual ID check. You don't need to explain. You don't need to justify. You don't need to apologize. The agent may sigh, they may look annoyed, but they must manually verify your ID. And here's the surprising part. When you do this firmly and confidently, The process often takes no longer than 10 seconds. Before we even reach the biometric future, there is a much closer threat most travelers are ignoring. May 7th, 2025. That was the real ID enforcement date. If your driver's license does not have the little gold star on it, TSA can deny you at security, even for domestic flights. No face scan will save you. No credit card will fix it. No workaround exists. Biometrics are optional. For now. Real ID is not. Check your wallet tonight. If your license doesn't have a star, go update it. Remember the days of handing your passport to an officer and getting that satisfying stamp? Well, those days are numbered. In 2026, airports across the US, Europe, and Asia will move toward a fully biometric system. That means your face and fingerprints will replace traditional documents for everything, from check-in to boarding to customs. The system is already being tested in places like Atlanta, Dallas, and London Heathrow. You walk up to a camera, it recognizes you in seconds, and your boarding pass appears automatically. Sounds futuristic, until you realize there's no way to opt out in many airports. If you're not comfortable with being scanned or photographed, you'll have to join a slower manual verification line. And that line is expected to grow dramatically once these systems become mandatory. The new EES system in Europe will also record exactly when you enter and leave the EU. If you thought carry-on rules couldn't get worse, think again. Starting in 2026, multiple airlines are set to enforce new bag size and weight restrictions. Some are introducing digital bag scanners at check-in, automatically rejecting oversized carry-ons before you even reach the gate. Airlines like Ryanair, EasyJet, and a few US low-cost carriers are already testing this. And the next phase? Charging passengers to use the overhead bins. Yes, you heard that right. Paying for space above your seat could become as normal as paying for the seat itself. Airlines argue it's about boarding efficiency, but let's be honest, it's about revenue. Here's the part travelers miss. Even full-service airlines are rumored to adopt personal item-only fare options next year. That means the bag you once carried for free could cost you $40 to $80 more per flight. Smart move. Invest in a small, structured under-seat bag that meets personal item dimensions and use compressible cubes to maximize space. Also, weigh your carry-on before you leave home. Some airlines now enforce 15-pound limits for overhead luggage. Don't let your vacations start with an argument at the gate. Airport security is about to feel very different, and for once, that might actually be a good thing. In 2026, TSA and airports across Europe are rolling out next-generation CT scanners. These advanced machines can analyze the contents of your bag in 3D, which means no more taking out laptops, liquids, or toiletries in many locations. Yep, the infamous 3.4-ounce liquid rule is on its last legs. Several airports in the UK and EU are already phasing it out, and TSA is testing similar systems at major US hubs right now. That said, don't get too comfortable just yet. Not every airport will upgrade at the same pace, so depending on where you fly, you might still need to remove your liquids and electronics. Another quiet change: shoe removal. The new scanners will be able to detect what's inside footwear, allowing most travelers to keep their shoes on during screening by 2026. Get ready, because your passport and boarding pass are about to merge. By 2026, the U.S. State Department will complete the rollout of next-gen e-passports. These digital-ready passports will include upgraded chips compatible with biometric systems and secure digital credentials that can live on your smartphone. In plain English, your phone could become your passport. Several airlines, including Delta, United, and British Airways, are already testing digital travel credentials. They verify your identity using facial recognition, so you can board without showing a single document. It's convenient, but also risky. Lose your phone mid-trip, and your digital ID goes with it. You could find yourself stranded without proof of citizenship. Smart move. Always carry your physical passport, even if you're using digital boarding. Keep paper backups of key documents, and store a photo of your passport info page in a locked notes folder on your phone. Technology is great, until your battery dies right before customs. Here's a rule change that hits where it hurts: your wallet. Starting in 2026, airports and airlines will quietly increase passenger taxes and environmental surcharges. You'll see them disguised as facility fees, fuel recovery, or green aviation levies. The UK has already confirmed an air passenger duty increase in 2026, and several EU nations are expected to follow. Experts predict similar adjustments will arrive in the US as airports modernize infrastructure. The tricky part? These costs are baked into your ticket, meaning you might not even realize you're paying more. Smart move. When comparing flights, check the taxes and fees breakdown on the checkout page and use airline credit cards that offer travel statement credits or fee reimbursements. Also, keep an eye on airport lounge access cards that include tax offsets or free checked bags. A few small adjustments can save hundreds each year. Air travel is changing faster than ever. In just a few months, airports will look and feel completely different. From biometric gates and digital passports to AI security lanes and new carry-on restrictions. But here's the good news. If you understand these new rules before everyone else, you'll skip the confusion, save money, and fly like an insider. So before your next trip, check your passport expiration date, update your travel apps, and keep watching Jet Set Genius for the latest insider airport updates that airlines definitely won't tell you. Because in 2026, knowledge will be your boarding pass.